Hello, everyone, and welcome. And welcome to our guest today, Emily Kady. I'm
Melissa.
Hi, so good to see you. I'm so excited.
I know, me too. Thank you for having me.
I'm Melissa Minnich, author of High on Life, a prescription for bliss, and live event host for Humanity's team of 501c3 nonprofit organization whose mission is to make conscious living pervasive worldwide by 2040. And I'm coming to you live from Austin, Texas. And we're so excited to have Emily Kady join us today. And how are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be here.
Oh, so excited to have you. And where are you connecting from today?
I'm from Orange County, California.
Awesome. I want to welcome Emily's audience, the Scene Network, those streaming live through the Humanities Team Facebook, YouTube channel, and Stream Plus members that are here in the green room with us. Hi, guys. Thanks for being members. And some of you I can even see on camera. It's so good to see you. Welcome, everyone. And because it's a live program, we will have time for comments and questions. Try to get your questions in within the first 30 to 40 minutes of the program. Post it in the chat, and you will get your questions answered today. Our guest Emily says that in order to engage in automatic writing, you don't need to be psychic or special. You just need to be willing to show up with an open heart, a curious mind, and a pen in hand. And she shares this. Getting all tongue tied today, everyone. She shares these amazing techniques through the Humanity Stream Plus Masterclass, channeled messages, automatic writing to connect with your guides. Emily Kady is a soul activator and near death experience survivor whose mission is to help others transmute trauma into divine DNA. After her NDE, she turned to automatic writing to navigate a dark night of the soul, a practice that reconnected her to her divine guidance and inspired her to help others align with their highest timeline. That's what her bio says, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper because I've known Emily now for quite a few years. Emily first came to me as a private client, and then she came into my mystery school, and then the tides turned and I started working with her. She is one of the most gifted channels connected into source in a way that I just can't even explain. She has been a guiding force in my life, and I have been in hers, and I'm just honored that I get to share her with you today. So you guys are really in for something special. This is probably my favorite of all of them that I've been doing here with Humanities Team, that I get to do this with her today. So welcome, Emily. And I want to
Thank you,
start.
Melissa. I do want to thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'm so honored to be here.
And I love you so much, and I'm so excited to be doing this. So,
Such a
uh,
treat.
yeah. And so you're a soul activator, a near-death experience survivor, and a spiritual channel. I want to start with taking us back to your near-death experience. Like, what happened? What did it awaken within you? What was going on in your life at that time that you needed
Yeah.
waking up
Oh
from?
my, that is like the best question right there.
Hmm.
At the time, so I've actually had three NDEs, but the most recent one was in 2015. And that's the one that had the most impact on me. So at the time, I was a people pleaser. I was an overproducer. I'm an empath. So I've always lived my life for everybody else's expectations, not my own. And back in 2015, I had two very successful businesses. I was also married to a man that I knew for 7 years. I wanted to get out of that relationship, but I didn't have the courage to, because being an empath, being such a highly sensitive person and feeling their emotions and being a people pleaser, I was staying in the relationship. I did not want to hurt him. So I was totally off course with the relationship and my businesses. So when I had the NDE, what happened was I was floating up in its complete euphoric place. I'm in this black space with a white light at the end, and there's a silhouette in front of the white light. And as I'm moving up, I didn't know that I had transitioned. I just knew that I was completely whole for the first time in my life. I remember at the moment I realized, oh, I'm transitioning. I remember thinking, oh, my mom, my dad, and my beloved dog, Buster, are going to be devastated when they find out. And I was so shocked because I didn't have that grief. Being up there, you don't have the emotions that you do down here. And I remember being concerned about them, but I wasn't going to grieve them. And so I realized this was the first time I felt whole in my life. I also realized how disempowering I was being not only to myself, but my loved ones by trying to protect them and take on their emotions and not really allow them to have whatever life lesson they needed, like leaving my husband 7 years earlier for fear of hurting him.
Mm.
So it was an amazing experience to be there, to experience the wholeness, to see as an empath how disempowering we can be if we're not healthy within these gifts. When I was brought back into my body, I didn't know who I was. I had complete amnesia. I had no clue who my husband was. No, I couldn't tell you anything. I didn't. My doctor was standing over me and yelling my name. I didn't even know who she was. I didn't know she was a doctor. Nothing made sense to me.
Mm.
But coming back, finally kind of getting sorted and saying, okay, I believe I'm Emily. This is my life. Everything shifted. Within 6 months, I left my husband, did not cry, left him. I was not emotionally concerned about him. Of course I was concerned and I was not mean, but I was just like, it was time. Had been off course and I knew I needed to get back on course. My soul was redirecting me to my core of where I'm supposed to be. I also had 2 very successful businesses. They were off course for me as well. They were not with what I came here to do. So within a year, I had closed both of those businesses. And that was the beginning of this journey of going, okay, what exactly am I here to do? I knew something was bigger inside of me, but I couldn't really figure it out. And so that did spin me into a dark night of the soul because I was so disconnected to my old life, yet I had to figure out how to navigate this new life. And there was no handbook. There was nothing to really understand how to do that. So I literally was trying to hold on to different, I went back because I had to make money. So I went to work for a different company doing what I had been doing in my own businesses. And that didn't last long because it was, again, I was laid off because I was out of alignment with what I'm supposed to be doing here.
So what do you think with that NDE, and everything changed 6 months after it? Was it something where you connected? Was it something from your soul that you're like, I'm no longer aligned, I can no longer do this? Or did it just kind of happen over the next 6 months? Or was it a decision that you made that kind of unraveled everything over that time frame?
It was a decision that I had made prior to the NDE because when I transitioned over, I didn't even think of my husband. I thought of my parents, my dog, and I was married. So subconsciously, I had made that decision. Consciously, I hadn't. So coming back, I was just a different person, and I knew that I was not meant to be with this man anymore. So to answer your question, it was a decision subconsciously. Prior, consciously, it was like, yeah, we got to do
Right.
this.
It clicks in and then you're like, I can't not follow this path. We hear this a lot, right, with these experiences with NDEs. Myself, I find a lot of spiritual people that are waking. I've had 2 NDEs, right? There's if you're not paying attention, it's like the universe is like trying to get to you in some sort of way. Like, listen, you're not on the right path,
Right. And isn't it frustrating? Like, why do we have to be so stubborn to not just listen to what we're supposed to be doing and have to take it to the extreme of having multiple NDEs? I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. I was super young. I had my second one at the age of 5. So my first
Oh,
one
okay.
before that. So yeah, but I did try to, the same. I almost killed myself in my 20s. So, there's, nearly died there. So I get it. So we did go through these massive transformations. So you went through what you called and what many describe as a dark night of the soul. So what exactly does that mean for you? And how did that chapter shape the work that you're now doing?
That's another great question, Melissa. You're so good at interviewing. I love this. So a dark night of the soul is I lost a sense of who I was. I lost my purpose. I lost everything. Going into the NDE, going into the spiritual realm, you're limitless. You're unstoppable. You are there's this beautiful unconditional love that fills every single cell in your body. And there's nothing like it here on earth. And so coming back into my body, and this is a very dense plane that we're on. There's a lot of heavy energy, a lot of depression that we're here to navigate. So coming back in, my nervous system was not ready to integrate that experience, let's just say. Going into that spiritual realm and experiencing that amazing feeling, and then coming back into this heaviness, into this body that the nervous system just couldn't hold that vibration or that frequency. So it spun me out into a very deep, deep, deep depression. I knew I was supposed to be here. I knew, but I could not figure out how to navigate this world. I wanted to feel that feeling of that, euphoric feeling I got to feel and experience on the other side. And I didn't understand, how do you navigate this world when you're in it, but you're not of it, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So 5 years of a deep, deep, deep depression. And there was one night that I was considering taking my life because I was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't know how to navigate this world. I don't fit in, but I know I'm supposed to be here. And in that time, I remember my guide saying, you do that, you're going to have to come back and relive this life. And I was like, oh, no, 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 no.
Okay.
No, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to figure this out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so one of the ways that you figured that out was through this process of automatic writing, right? It became a lifeline for you during this time. So how did that, where did that come from? How did it enter your life? And what made it different from like other tools or things that you had tried?
So, my NDE definitely, I've always been very psychic. I could always see and hear spirits my whole life, but it lit it up to a whole new level. But there was a lot of confusion. And at one point, I heard my guides just say, just write, just write.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started to get up early in the morning and I would dedicate time to just start writing. And it was at the time not necessarily a formula, because I didn't need more like confusion or structure. I just needed to get words out of me. And so I would get up at 5:30 in the morning and just allow my thoughts to flow. And what I found was, as my thoughts were flowing, I would go back and reread what I had written, and I would realize this is not me writing. And
Mm-hmm.
there were so many embedded, powerful messages that gave me the clarity on my next steps I needed to take
Mm.
to
Yeah.
help me get out of the depression.
Yeah, that's so powerful that you're in that moment, you're doing the writing, you've listened, you're doing the thing, and then you go back and you start to look and you're like, wow, this isn't even me. So who is it? Where's it coming from? And how are you channeling? If it is a form of channeling, how is it different from other channeling? Like, what did you discover in this journey of like this automatic writing of like what you were connecting to?
So when I first started, I didn't necessarily know who I was talking to. I just knew I had guides and I was like, okay, who am I talking to? I don't know, but I just trusted. And it is a form of channeling. We all channel. I truly believe every single one of us here has that ability to channel. And when you write and you just allow yourself to go into this space of not necessarily really thinking, you're just writing. And maybe at the time I was like trying to find clarity, the clarity would start to come through the words that I was writing on my paper. So as I would go back, and that was the key for me, go back and reread, you'd see the handwriting change, and the words that were being used were not my words. And seeing the clarity. So once I realized, oh, somebody else is coming in here and writing for me, then I would start to ask, who is this? And I would get my guide. I have some main guides, but one of my main guides, her name is Ophelia. She would always come in. She'd be like, it's me. I'm guiding you through this. And so I started working with her super close. And so I worked with her. I still kind of work with her, not as much. I work more directly with my higher self now. But at the time, Ophelia was the one that guided me out of my depression and guided me actually to you, Melissa.
I love it.
Yeah, she
No surprise.
really,
Thanks, Ophelia. Right?
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so beautiful. Awesome. So let's watch the first clip from Emily's course. This is the introduction around the practice to connect to your higher self and beyond.
Hi, I'm Emily Kady, an intuitive life strategist, spiritual activator, and your guide to unlocking the clarity that's already inside of you. I help spiritually curious souls remember who they truly are, align with their purpose, and trust their inner voice, not the noise of the outside world. And if you're here, it's not by accident. You're being called to awaken your channel, to deepen your connection with your higher self, your guides, and your soul's truth. That's where my course, Channeled Messages, Automatic Writing to Connect with Your Guides, comes in. This isn't just about journaling. This is about accessing the wisdom beyond your mind, a sacred, active space where clarity flows through you. Inside this course, you'll receive step-by-step guidance on how to open your channel, my signature energy prep process, activations to clear fear, doubt, and even overthinking, and a powerful practice to help you receive messages from your higher self, your guides, and beyond. You don't need to be more spiritual or more gifted. You just need a method. This is it, and it's waiting for you. So if your intuition is nudging you, trust it. Let's unlock your channel and your clarity together. I'll see you on the inside.
One of the things that you talk about in your introduction of the course is about opening the channel, right? The channel and accessing that divine wisdom. So in your view, what has become the best way for people to open their channel or work with this energy or just know that they're open compared to just, like forcing it or moving towards pieces like that?
So, trust. I really believe trusting that you are receiving messages from your higher self or your spirit team is the biggest key. And one of the lessons I actually learned from you, Melissa, and I still use to this day is the brain heart coherence meditation. And that is really understanding like how to lead with our heart and not our brain. So that's where the trust comes in. Because if we can trust our heart, as you've educated me so great, incredibly on, is our heart has just as many or more brain cells than our brain. And so if we can trust our heart to guide us, whether it's through writing or and however our intuition is leading us, is such a powerful gift. And it
Mhm.
clears all the clutter that is we're stumbling over on a regular basis.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, definitely the heart is that portal to the divine, right? We have those three access points. We have the womb and the gut, right? Where we hear about like listen to your gut, and then we have the heart, and then we have the pineal gland, and yet those pieces are like portals into this other thing and opening that beautiful channel that we all have. And I, like Emily said, I believe also, I mean, I've taught thousands of people all over the world how to become channels, right? Like we all have the gift and the ability. And
Mhm.
I personally think that writing is one of the most powerful ways because it actually gets your brain out of the way since you're writing, right? So you're not thinking like someone that's a channel, if they're like hearing something or they're seeing or a message is coming through and it's like a knowing, right? Like that Claire, a lot of people question it. But when it comes through your body physically and you're writing it down, it's a lot harder to question that, right? Than to question. I know I spent 5 years questioning the messages that I was getting and then writing them down before I was finally willing to be able to say, oh yeah, I have that gift. 5 years of direct messages in this way, like through that automatic writing. Have you found that to be like a baseline for you of really allowing yourself to like step fully into this? Oh yes, I have this.
Yes, I have. I mean, I've always had the gift
Mhm.
of being intuitive and psychic, but I think it just really, for me, through my automatic writing, just it gave me that I think exactly what you're saying, that confidence of like, okay, I am being guided here and I'm not being misguided.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so a lot of people are thinking, yeah, well, I don't feel like I have that gift, or I may not be psychic, or I'm not special. But what would you say to someone who doubts their own ability to do this?
Um, I think that's the biggest thing. Everyone's going to doubt it at first because it's not how we've been programmed or trained here in this, and here in our lives for generations. We have not been, um, it has not been something that has been encouraged for us. So I say start small, micro steps. You want to experience it. I find so many of my clients want so hard to develop their intuition or their psychic gifts, and it's little baby steps that need to be taken each day. And again, like through what I found through my automatic writing is I would go back and reread it. If you don't go back and reread it, you're not going to know. But when you go back and reread it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so not me. And so that's when you can realize, okay, yes,
Yeah.
this is where I can start to develop this trust and this confidence that I do have this gift.
Yeah, I've actually been packing right now because I'm getting ready to move, and I found a journal from I think 10 or more years ago, and the same. I've opened it up and I'm reading it. And I'm like, oh my God, that's not me. But I'd forgotten I hadn't reread it in so long. Right? There's
Isn't that so fun?
so fun.
I
Yeah,
know.
and I'm like,
And to see
oh,
how
that's
much you've
me.
grown
Yeah,
too.
that how much I've grown, how much information's out there, and then like the knowing of like those different pieces. I mean, and now mine's in a book. Like I go back and I'm like, oh, it wasn't, that piece wasn't me. Where did that come from? How did I figure that out? Right? Those types of things. So that's really beautiful that we can just say, I love that you're saying you have to go back and read it, right? Like not just write it down. It's not like a journal where you're getting out all of your stuff and you're talking about like this issue or that challenge. You're like, this is something you're putting it through, and then you're going back and reading it again to see like what's coming through.
Yeah, a
Mm,
lot of people don't take the time to reread it.
okay, awesome. So
Yeah.
we're going to talk now about we're going to share the second clip, supercharger channeling, and then we're going to dive deep into things like the best time of day to write and theta frequency.
Creating an automatic writing environment. So this may not seem like something that's important, but actually is really important. Best to do automatic writing early in the morning. This is when your brain is not fully awake and that you can easily access the spiritual realm. So if you are not a morning person, you can 100% do this at nighttime before you go to bed. So part of the thing is in the morning is best, as I have found. One, I am a morning person, but I do this before I'm fully awake as well as while the house is still asleep. And so when people are awake around me, I'm feeding their energies feeding into me, my energies feeding into them. And so I want to do this while I'm the only one essentially awake in the house, and that I can access the spirit realm without having to connect with other people's energy around me. So two reasons why I do it in the morning. One, again, because my brain is not fully awake, it's easier to connect with the spirit realm, as well as other people in the house are not awake, or environment around me are not awake. And so I'm not receiving other people's energy at that time. Again, if you are a night person, do it at night and just wait until everybody goes to sleep. And find that space where you can notice that your brain is starting to calm down. The constant chatter is not as active, and this is an opportune time to start to do your automatic writing. The other thing, too, is the space. I am all about having a space that doesn't have a lot of clutter, as well as is very comfortable for my automatic writing. I will get out of bed even when it's cold and dark and I don't want to, because I have found that the automatic writing has actually shifted and changed my life. This is a time that you can create the life that you want. And it's a really sacred time where you can transform what has been hindering or holding you back and find the flow to heal it. So I will get out of bed. And sometimes what I will think to myself as I don't want to get out of bed is I will think of where I may be stuck in my life, and I want to have clarity on how to overcome it or heal from it. So that will be my anchor to pull me out of bed and get me into my automatic writing. Now, again, the environment, I am in a place that is quiet and clutter free, a place where I feel comfortable as well as grounded. This is super important. I tend to light candles. I have a salt lamp that I will turn on. If it's really dark and I cannot see the paper, I do have a dim light that I will light that's across the room because I don't want to completely wake up my brain. So I keep it very dimly lit, but enough that I can actually see what I am writing.
Awesome. So I want to start with something you didn't specifically mention here, but that you kind of did. You said the candles and the lights and then my paper. Will you go in and talk about the difference between like why we want to automatic write using pencil or pen and paper over like getting on a computer or typing it out?
Yeah. So for me, writing with a pencil, or I usually write with a blue pen, because my guides have told me like the color blue helps us manifest. So I work with that, and writing it out, it's that direct connect that's going through. Now the computer to me that is there's an electronic, and there's the different frequencies coming from the computer that can interfere with that connection for me.
Yeah.
So that's why I encourage writing it with a pencil and paper. There's just something about that coming through directly.
Yeah, I believe the same. And one, the frequencies of the computer, and two, there's actually a process that happens when your brain and your hand connect together, right? So that we have the heart chakra is also in our
Mhm.
hands; it's connected to our heart. And so the key, and we have a 17-second when you're actually using, if you're going to manifest something from that piece, you want to actually bring it physically. It's the embodiment again, right? Where we as above, so below, we need to be in our bodies. And so it's so powerful to be able to pull that into paper. So I wanted to just make that a point so people know, like, definitely write it out, like use your body, use the paper.
The
And when,
other the other
yeah,
thing I want to also, and I think that's an excellent point, is what you just said. But as you're talking, also the computer has a blue light, and
mhm,
the blue light is job is to wake us up.
yeah, yeah.
And so in this place, you want to really be quiet and you don't want to be
Mhm,
fully alert. So yes, that is
yeah.
another reason too.
Right, because one of the things you talk about is being in a theta frequency, right? Like you're in this
Yes.
frequency. So what's the importance of being in that frequency well, how does that help you supercharge your channeling and why is it important to stay in that?
Yeah. So the theta is when you're like literally in a place that you can direct connect. Your brain is not in an active space. So that's when you can actually have that brain heart coherence and trust it and have that direct connect to the spiritual realm, to your spirit teams and your higher self. So
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Again, it's not wanting, you don't want to be fully awake, because that's when the logic steps in and your brain goes, wait, no, this doesn't make sense.
Hmm.
We're going to write a different way, or this is not working or whatever. Whereas when you're in that theta, you can just kind of trust the process and not question it.
So for someone maybe that can't write first thing in the morning or is doing it at night, right? Because I'm with you. I love the early morning hours, but not everybody's capable of doing that. Is there a process or a way that they can do something that will help pop them back into that theta state at some other time during the day that you can talk a little bit about with everyone?
So if somebody's wanting to do it later at night, you mean?
Yeah, say
Mhm.
they've been up all day and
Oh,
now
right.
do you
Mhm.
do like a breath work or is there a process or something that like brings them back into that space so that they can do that automatic writing?
Yeah. So one thing I'm really um, key on is using red light in the evening, because the red light helps us restore. And so what I would recommend is take at least an hour off of all electronics and be in a red light room. So
Mm,
whether it's a Himalayan salt lamp or whatever, so you can have that red light, that's going to help bring your body, your mind, everything back into a place of being restored and
mm,
rest. This, even if you're not doing the automatic writing, if you're doing it in the morning, if you're not doing it at night, is a really good practice. It's so that you can go into a very deep sleep when you do go to bed. But the red light is powerful. And then the brain heart coherence meditation is in the actual in the course. So I do recommend that, doing that meditation every day.
Yeah.
So before going into writing, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're someone that you're like, well, red light, well, you can wear red light glasses. There's actually,
Mhm.
you can go on Amazon. There's a red light tape. Like you can put it over things. So if you don't have that, you can access. There's super simple ways to do that red light. Actually, just as you were talking, just realized I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have on my glasses right now. And I'm staring at my screen, right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
So you wear red light glasses when you're looking at the
I have
screen.
yellow ones during the day for
Hmm.
right that cut out the blue light so that when you're watching your screen, I have orange ones for dusk and then red for in the evening. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. They're really fabulous. So usually that's what I'm wearing right now, but I don't have them on right now. So one of the other things that you talk about is creating sacred space. Why is an external space so important to the quality of the transmission that you receive?
Mm, yeah. So like to be comfortable and safe in your space is everything. We have to raise the vibration of not only ourselves, but our space in order to really connect with the spiritual realm, because the spiritual realm, our guides are at such a high vibration, they have to drop their vibration. So we have to be willing to meet them. If we're not willing to do the work to meet them, they can't reach
Mm.
us. And so for me, it's me taking care of my body, eating really clean, not being on social media, scrolling all the time, doing things to raise my vibration so I can be at my optimum, knowing that I'm going to be guided from my higher self or my guides, as well as creating that space
Mm.
that it's sacred. And it's just this space. My office is my office, and I make it sure it's clean. I charge my crystals all the time. I'm lighting candles just to really create that high vibration in here. So when I step in, or if somebody comes in here, they feel it. They feel love.
Yeah. Oh, they feel the love. Beautiful.
And that raises our vibration so we can connect with the other
Yeah. I
out.
love that you're saying like you know, you got to meet them there. You got to, it's not we're working to, to bring it's a two part. Like you got to rise to them as they're coming down to, to come to you. So,
Right. And if we aren't willing to do that, and I think that was my biggest mistake when I had my dark night of the soul, is
mm,
I was still in victim mode and expecting my guides to save me. Not
mm,
really realizing I had to do some work on myself here and take responsibility for myself. And part of that is, you know, taking care of, whatever I need to do so I can meet them, because they can't, yeah, they won't be able to meet us. And they will work with us, but it's not as easy for us to connect with them.
yeah. Well, that's a perfect lead into our third clip about channeling your guides. So let's watch that.
The writing process. Okay, so now you got the environment set, and now we are ready to start writing. This is my favorite part. So I continue to keep my headphones on and listen to my entrainment music, the theta enhancing binaural beats is usually what I'm listening to. And then, because again, I don't want to activate my brain, I want to keep it in a very low active state. And then I will write out my invocation. And this is a prayer for me to invoke my guides and my higher self to come in and write through me. I am essentially inviting them, I'm invoking them to come into myself, my hands, and write through me. And my invocation prayer, I will read it to you, says something like this. Now, I will leave a copy of this for you as well here to access this. However, if you have a different invocation prayer that you want to use, please do make it personal and comfortable for you, which is super important. So, this is what I say: Divine source of light and love, I call upon my highest angels, guides, and spirit team to join me in this sacred moment. I set the intention to open my heart, my mind, and my spirit to your wisdom, guidance, and loving presence. Please create a safe and protected space for me where only truth, love, and light may enter. Help me quiet my mind and release any doubts, fears, or distractions that may cloud our connection. I ask for clarity in the messages that I receive, trusting that they are here for my highest good and aligned with my soul purpose. May my pen flow freely, guided by your divine inspiration and infused with your loving energy. I approach this practice with gratitude, humility, and trust, knowing that I am never alone. Thank you for your guidance, wisdom, and unconditional support. I am ready to listen and receive. And so it is. So that is the prayer that I start with every time before I start my automatic writing. Then once I do that, then I can start asking my questions. Now, there are certain questions that I always ask. Automatic writing is a way for us to get to know ourselves better, get to know how to overcome challenges that we face, patterns that keep resurfacing in our lives. It's also a beautiful way to develop a relationship with your guides and your spirit team and understanding of who you are. I am a true believer that understanding how to work with our guides, we need to know who they are as well. We need to understand, asking them like for a little bit about who they are is important. It's like we've all had those experiences where we've gone out to meet a friend for lunch or whatever, dinner, and all they do is talk about themselves and they never ask anything about you. I don't know how many times I've been to dinner parties where I'm sitting there listening and asking questions about people that I'm just meeting. And I leave going, they never once asked one thing about me. They don't know anything about me. This is the same with our spirit team, taking a moment to ask about them, who they are, why they're here.
I just have to say, yes, I've been there many times where you go to the event or like in the dating world, right? Where you ask all the questions and you're like, nobody ever asked me any questions back, right? I love that you use that synonymous, like, gotta ask your guides some questions, but get some information from them about like who they are and not, don't make it just a one way where we're always take, but like a two-way conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is a two-way conversation. Who are they? How long have they been with us? Have they been with us through multiple lifetimes or just this lifetime, a short
Mm,
chapter? It's so, yeah. And getting to know a little bit more about them is so fun. Really
mhm.
is.
Yeah.
So we get lost in the 3D world of this density of please help me. And you have all the wisdom and guides to guide me, but really we all have it within ourselves. But they're going to open up more if we get to know who they are.
Yeah, that's so yummy. So that was such a beautiful invocation. And one of the things that you said that there are questions that you always ask. What
Mhm.
are some of those questions? Like, what are the important ones that you're like, I always ask this, or this is, to start out, and why is it important to ask like some of the same questions again and again?
So when starting out this, I always instruct my students to ask over and over every day, why am I here? Or who am I? I'll have them ask that because I think it's really important to understand who we are and why we're here. So that, could take a few weeks to a few months, depending on how receptive my students are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but once you have that, then it's like, how can I serve today?
Mm,
Um,
that's good.
yes, because we're here to serve. What is I'm trying to think. There's three of them that I always ask, and it's how can I serve today? What is the what would make your life easier? You're speaking to my guides. What would make it easier for you if I do something today? And what is one micro step that I can take today to do that? Because
Mm,
they may say, we need you to quit your job. But that's not realistic. Sometimes our guides don't know, like us being in the spirit realm, down here, they're in the spirit realm. They don't understand necessarily how hard it is here. And we all have to make money. We all have to, survive. We're the only species here on Earth that has to have a job to survive here. Um, so they don't always fully, completely understand the density here. So it's like, all right, guys, well, that's great. I understand the trajectory of like my life while I was married with my businesses were out of alignment for me. But to make that quick step is not necessarily possible. So how can I take that micro step to move in the direction that's going to get me in alignment so that it's not jarring on me, my finances, my nervous system, whatever that may be.
And I would challenge that to say that sometimes if you jump, the net appears. You know, my guides told me to walk away from a seven-figure business and shut it down, and I did, and walked away and didn't have any income for over a year, and it was all fine, and money came from everywhere, right?
Yeah,
So
you totally inspire me,
sometimes
Melissa.
sometimes we are realistically in our head being like, that's not realistic. And they're like,
Right,
yeah, do you have faith? Take the chance.
right.
Maybe.
Right. No, and I agree. Our nervous systems have to be able to handle that. And you have trained
Right,
yourself.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you do have to have the nervous system to handle it. That is
Mhm.
the big difference because if you do something like that and your nervous system is like plugging that 220 into the 110,
Right.
you will out, you know. Yeah,
Exactly.
I was at a point where I was able to not freak out and just be like in blitz and be like, right.
I know. I watched you that whole year and I was just like in awe and so inspired by you doing
Mhm.
what you did. You were in Europe, you're all over the place, just and having like free housing and stuff show up. It was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I
And
love
that's where I just want the point of that was to say more of like sometimes there's something that we hear that we logically think is there's no way I can do that. But if you take that step, you never know. Like there's so many things, the opportunities, like the magic, like there's so much in the field available that sometimes we have to stretch ourselves a little bit and take the thing that we think seems super unrealistic and say yes to it because there's magic on the other side of that too.
absolutely agree
Yeah, yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you said ask your about two-way conversation, talk to your guides, find out who they are, see that. Have you noticed since you started your automatic writing, have your guides changed over time? Or are you just creating a more consistent relationship? Is what have you noticed in that?
Mm, yeah, it's so interesting you say that. So they have changed. I still work closely with Affiliate, just not as much. I said earlier, I work a lot with my higher self.
Mm,
But I do have guides, and I had a bunch of guides just leave my team, and some new guides come on. So it's just I know that I'm up leveling, and they served me to the point that I was at, and now I got some new guides coming on.
mm-hmm.
They're pretty powerful and intense, so I'm getting to know them. So the automatic writing is helping me learn how to work with their energies and what their intentions are, and just getting
Mm-hmm.
a feel for who they are and how we're supposed to co-create together. So, but
Mm-hmm.
yes, I do believe that all of us have guides that are with us for a certain period, just like friends. It can be seasonal. We have our birth guides that are at birth angels that are with us throughout the entire life. And then we have guides that kind of come and go different stages of our lives to help
Yeah.
us navigate. And they have different jobs for us. So,
Mm.
yeah. So it's fun to see them evolve and change.
Yeah, I can't wait to have a conversation with you about who's come in new.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So we're going to go to our fourth clip of the day. If you have questions or anything that you want to share with Emily, please put them in the chat now so we can talk about them. So we're doing master advanced techniques. We're going to talk about our next clip number 4 here in a minute.
Now, this is a video about advanced techniques. So, this is one advanced technique. You're going to purge out the negativity and start to rewire your brain for the positivity. The next thing to help you get unstuck with your life purpose. Many people ask me, what's my life purpose? What's my life purpose? Automatic writing, use it to find out. Just write, what is my life purpose? And see what insights come. Or ask yourself every day, what is my life purpose? And see what comes through. This is a great advanced technique. The other thing is dream big. What is it that you want in your life that you don't already have? I write out every morning after my automatic writing. I literally write out exactly what I want in my life as if I already have it, and I bring in the emotion. So this is part of my morning routine. I'm doing the automatic writing. I'm purging what is negative and doesn't no longer serves a purpose in me. And then I start to write out what it is that I want in my life. Again, I'm writing it in the present tense as if I already have it, and I include how it makes me feel, how it feels. As many of you know, I want to move to Northern California. That's where I'm from. I want to go back home. So I have in my automatic writing that my partner and I have bought a home in Northern California outright, no mortgage, outright. This is part of my daily practice. And I feel so at home. When I'm writing it, I feel so at home. I feel free and I feel secure. And I envision the redwood trees around me. I envision like the property, the front porch of my home, and me sitting there with my partner and just hanging out and having a great time. I'm feeling it. I'm smelling it. I'm pulling all of those senses in that this is an alignment to where my soul is headed. And I'm pulling it in. I'm moving into that future self and pulling myself into that timeline. So these are a few advanced techniques. Purge the negativity, rewire with positivity, ask what your purpose is, and allow what needs to come forward will come forward. Again, it could be like putting a puzzle together. You may get one piece today and you'll get a few more pieces over the next few weeks. And then all of a sudden you have this aha. I have this one client, she did this and it took her 3 weeks and she came to me and was like, oh my God, it came, my purpose. It took me 3 weeks, but I got it. And I feel so amazing. It was like life-changing. And it was so, it was like a sense of relief for her. Because to her, the purpose seemed like so heavy. And then when her spirit team shared with her what her purpose was, it was light and loving and beautiful. And she was just like ignited. It was really such a special revelation for her. Life-changing. And then after you're doing this, one other technique is to pull in your future self of who you are, what you're doing, where you're living, whatever is your relationships are like, whatever it is that you want, that you know are aligned with your soul, write those in the present tense as if they've already happened and how they make you feel.
There are so many golden nuggets in this little clip that we just did. And I want to first start with purging negative thoughts for those, because I think that's a baseline. Everybody's got them. You know, what do we do with them? What is your favorite way or one of the things that you do when negative thoughts and things are creeping in to purge them?
Well, so in my automatic writing, I will actually write them out. I let them come out. I don't bury them. And so I sit down and I'm like, all right, so why do I believe I can't move to Northern California? And I just write out all that negativity so I
Mhm.
can get it out of my system.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's going to stay there and it's going to constantly nag at me.
Yeah.
So I find that when you actually allow yourself to write it, it gives you permission to release it.
Yeah. I always say it's like when you have a pop bottle and the lid's on it and all of the bubbles are in there. But once you open that pop bottle and you let all of those negative thoughts, right, the bubbles release up to the top, eventually the pop's going to go flat.
Yeah.
Or, the sparkling water, it's going to go flat. And that's kind of like how when you're automatic writing, you're like letting these effervescence and all of it's bubbling up, bubbling up, bubbling up. And then finally it gets out of your system, it gets out of your energy field, it gets out of there. And then you're at a new baseline. So I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so important. So important
Mm.
because we can just try to manifest what we want, but if we don't pay attention to that negative thought or feeling, it's like you said, it's just going to stay there.
Yeah. And I want to connect now, and because this is one of my favorite things to talk about, is you talk about, the future, your future self, rewriting, like looking at it as in present tense in this moment, working through that. So what happens when you start writing from the future instead of writing like towards it?
Mm, it's so empowering.
Mm.
It just it's like I get transported into her.
Mm.
And I start to see when I start writing smaller things like my plan to move to Northern California has not come to fruition yet, but I go and I access her all the time. And I know it's going to happen. I have no doubt in my mind because I
Mm.
access her every day.
Mhm.
Um, things shift. So what I have been experienced is the Emily today is the Emily that was created anywhere from 3 months ago to a year ago.
Mhm.
That same Emily cannot create the Emily that wants to go and move to Northern California because she hasn't done it yet. So I have to access that future self to help guide me on the timeline to get me there and access her frequency, because that past Emily from 3 months ago, the frequency is not the same as the Emily that's living in Northern Cal. So I'm connecting with that, and it's so empowering, and it's like I literally feel like I'm there.
Yeah. And it's also the difference between Chronos time, which is logical linear time, and Kairos time, which is divine timing,
Mm-hmm.
right? There is a divine timing. That divine timing is about frequency. It is the way that you pop into divine timing and have it appear in your life is through the frequency of that. So by you connecting to that future part of yourself that's in that frequency, you're engaging that Kairos time so that it starts to show up in your life. And again, with divine timing, it's like we may want something to happen in 3 months. I know that I've had things that I visioned, created, whatever. One took 10 years, one took 3 years. None of them were on my timeline, my ego timeline of like the linear, but it was in this other piece. And so we get to play with that. And so you're popping into that frequency. So it
Yes.
gets to pull you forward and bring you in.
Yes.
Um, yeah. So was there a channeled message or a breakthrough that completely shifted your understanding of your soul's purpose, right? We were talking about soul's purpose in this one, and you have completely rewired and moved from that business you were in before that, before the NDEs and all that. Was there a moment in time where you really understood on a deeper level what you're really here to do? And
Well, there's a few, but the one that is coming to mind right now is um, about 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I hired a mentor and asked her, she was telling me about numerology, and she's like, your life path number is 6. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm a teacher. That's cool. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And then about 2 years ago, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, I kept hearing my guides say, check your life path number. I'm like, I'm a 6. I know my life path. I'm good. I'm good. And my guides for seriously a solid month kept going, please check your life path number. Please check that numerology, check it, recheck it. And so finally, one day I'm like, all right, I'll check it. I'll check it. I checked it. I'm a 33. So
oh,
a
yeah,
33 is a
big
master.
difference.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was probably one of the most like profound message from my guides. Like, all right, this is you're here to bring in Christ consciousness. You're here as a master teacher. It's
Yeah.
time to get on your path.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I think that was the biggest one, because I was fighting with my guides for about a month. Like,
Yeah. Well,
I
that's
don't
like me. I'm a 22, but if somebody told me a 4, right? Like if I would heard 4, they're not the same. Like
they're
it's not
not the same.
they're not the same. That it's a baseline. That 6 is a baseline. That 4 is a baseline. But 22 and 33s are the rarest numerology that exists for in the life path numbers. And so you understand it. Like, yeah, 33. That's pretty freaking powerful. Like, pay attention. Check that again.
Right. And from
Yeah.
what I understand about the 33 too, is it takes a while to get there.
Yeah.
It's not an easy path for people that have that path or that number. And so
Mm-mm.
I think like that's why I've had 3 NDEs, and the last one was like a smack in the face, like you're
Yeah.
way out of alignment here with this thinking
Yeah.
you're going to fit into this 3D world owning businesses in this fashion. I can own businesses, but in a different way.
Yeah.
Me more in the spiritual, bringing in the Christ consciousness.
Beautiful. Awesome. So we do have a question from our
Awesome.
audience. So we have Barbara asking, what is the difference between automatic writing and inspiration? She says, I take long prayer/meditation walks every morning. Ideas pop into my head. I write down what comes to me because I don't remember it by the time I get home.
That's a great question, Barbara. So, automatic writing, I'm coming in with the intention, like I want to commune directly with my guides and they're going to write through me. That's what works for me. And your inspiration and your long walks, that may be what works for you. It's setting that intention. Again, I'm setting the intention as well as I'm doing it first thing in the morning where I'm still in a theta state. Whereas going for a walk, I don't know what time of day you're going, but you may be a little bit more awake. So I think the only difference I could see is really like having that. I want my guides to write through me, so I have it on paper, and I have the ability to go back and reread it. Even though you said that you're writing it and down what, because when it is a channeled message, like you're receiving, you don't necessarily remember them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. Thank you for that. Let's see if there's anything else over there. Okay. So, Emily, we're about to wrap up here, but before we do, I would love to know what's your message to our community? What would you like to share? What maybe something we didn't talk about or anything?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing in my experience of connecting with the spiritual realm and using the tool of automatic writing is really knowing that each and every single one of us, we have a purpose here. And whether you choose to do it through automatic writing or taking strolls to connect with your higher self and your spirit team or meditating, whatever it is, that modality for you is um is perfect for you. We have a purpose and we all have our own blueprint. Not
Mhm.
every single one of us is designed the same. And to cherish and love that aspect of you for being your unique self.
Mhm.
That is so important because not, again, we are not meant to be like anyone else. We came here specifically to have an impact, whether big or small, it doesn't matter. That impact has a ripple effect on everyone. So, yeah, I think that's really important. And taking that time, the discipline to connect with your soul and your spirit team can really help clear any hesitation, um, any confusion, self doubt, and know that you are aligning with what you came here to do as a soul.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Emily, for this beautiful wisdom. And I highly, highly recommend that you go and check out this Channeling the Divine using automatic writing on Humanity's team streaming platform. I want to just share again what I said at the beginning. I've worked with thousands and thousands of people all over the world, and Emily is one of the most gifted channels that I have ever come across. And it's been an honor to work with her in so many ways. And if you're looking for this kind of, and please connect with Emily. She is just a magical being. And I'm so excited to have, that her courses on the streaming platform here. So, yeah.
Thank you,
Mm,
Melissa. Thank you
thank
so much
you.
for having me and
Yeah.
that compliment. I really appreciate you. I love you.
They love you too. And so thank you everyone for joining us for a course in putting pen to paper, channeling the divine using automatic writing. It is now available on the Stream Plus platform. Join Stream Plus now and gain immediate access to this incredible program. You'll get access to Emily's course and other incredible spiritual teachers and programs. We are proud to say that Humanity Stream Plus is the largest global streaming platform for consciousness raising masterclasses and transformational education. We are a nonprofit and also give back with our One for One program, sharing our content with those who cannot afford the membership. I want to thank Steve Farrell, Dee Meyer, and the production team, Jim Gray, Garth Catterall, Nanette Kennedy, Kennedy Matheler, Karen Weissert, and the rest of Humanity's team. Thank you all so very much for joining us today, and many blessings. And thank you again, Emily.
Thank
Bye.
you.